Good morning. How's it going?
Oh, good. Just replying to people in the thread who said their alarm didn't go off for the live with Dan.
Yeah, well, it's a Friday after a long week, but people are joining, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm doing well. After this is probably one of the weeks that will go down in QuestionPro history of a really good week, I think, with XDay and I think it really went off without a hitch, so it was really good. Got a lot of good feedback too.
Yeah, I was really excited about it. Trying to corral that many people and external speakers into was really a challenge. And I would say there was a lot more pre-stress than there was day of stress, which was
Yeah.
a juxtaposition on live events versus digital events.
Yeah, no, I think it's true. There's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it, right? Making sure you have the right links and speakers that are there and everything. So, but no, it really went off without a hitch. So, I know coming up today, we want to recap that. So that'll be fun. Go over a few clips and highlights. But for people joining now, make sure you comment. We want to make this as interactive as possible. Do some live Q&A if we can. And then make sure you like, subscribe. We'll get the notifications when
sorted out. That's on me. I take responsibility for that. It was a long week, and I couldn't tell you how many Zoom links I was trying to figure out. But we still have a lot going on, and we still have 4 more XDays.
Yeah, 4 more XDays. I'm excited about that too. So there's Germany, Australia, LATAM, and then one in MENA as well. So
So in order, because I have it right over here, it's our Middle East conference is on November 10th. If you are curious about content and what's happening over there, our German, Australia, Switzerland conference is happening on November 17th. Our LATAM conference is happening on November 25th, and our APAC region in Australia is happening on December 1st. And it's all unique content. So it's not like we're taking content from XDay North America and repeating it. Every region is bringing in their own speakers and kind of having their, it's all theming around advancing research and what QuestionPro is doing with that and our product releases. But everyone is going to have a different keynote and different speakers coming in. And so.
And really related to each region too. So specific to your region, different trends, things are going on. Like I know MENA is really focused on CX, so they'll talk a lot about that. Germany will talk a lot about XA and different things that we're doing there. So really good. And 5 X days, 5 user conferences is no small feat. So make sure that you attend one in your region. If you didn't attend X Day for whatever reason, maybe you slept through it, you were doing something else. I don't know what was more important than X Day on Tuesday, but we'll be doing a recap of it here today. And then we can post the link to the YouTube playlist that we have that goes over all the presentations that we did. But yeah, so I can do that, or we'll get that in the comments as well. So it was good. I think before we dive into that though, any other opening announcements, Crystal? Should we dive right in?
Let's dive in. I'm going to find that link and drop it in the comments so people can watch it. But it's also, if you're watching us on YouTube, it is in our playlist. So it's XDay North America playlist. So just roll through those. I even put in the live poll section.
Oh, the live poll. That was fun.
Yeah, they have their own little live polls, has its own clip.
Yeah, I have a market research joke that I thought. Now, this is, if you know market research, you'll get this joke, but
okay, I won't.
This is the only market research joke I have. It's not a dad joke. It's a market research specific joke. So you're a market researcher when you invite 15 people to a dinner party and expect 10 to 12 to show. That's only going to be funny to market research people. So for a focus group, typically you invite 15 people to show up, and then 10 to 12 will actually show up. So that's the joke.
You didn't have to explain it. I figured it out. Oh man, I know you guys. I actually was listening back through XDay, and you guys had some really good zingers in your like hang with Dan time. And so I'm gonna pull those out, but
Yeah, I'll
and
tell you,
start doing some.
Tim was on the dad joke tip. He was going off, so it was good.
That's great.
Yeah. So
Um,
I got something here. Speaking of funny things, so this is what the name of research, not so funny, but obviously we all know there's an election coming up on Tuesday. It's also Crystal's birthday, so
yeah.
that's probably more important than the election. But I think really be leery of a lot of the polls and different things that you see out there. There are a lot that are biased, so to speak, right? So you want unbiased political polls, but here's a clear example of a biased one. Do Trump's failed businesses make him a fraud? So obviously, the survey is going to be pretty geared toward, his business, making it a fraud and so forth. So it's going to be, not unbiased. So beware of this. There's a lot of bad polls out there that will mislead the respondent or the consumer to answering, and then they report on those. So make sure that if you're taking polls, you're participating, that not asking leading questions, and watch out for these ones. I wouldn't take these polls or surveys or anything. They're just kind of junk. So I thought it was, kind of like, if you see this stuff, you're like, come on, it's not going to be unbiased. It's clearly like, leaning one way. So just
Is
make
there
sure,
like an ethical market research, like,
yeah,
I don't know,
I mean,
the like motto that you guys take, like the Boy Scouts?
it's not like a Boy Scout motto, but there's like, if you're part of like
Pledge.
SOMAR, if you're part of like SOMAR, these different organizations, like, you may make sure that you adhere to these standards, but a lot of the companies putting this out aren't, or they kind of ride that fine line. So
Gotcha.
yeah, it's like any industry, right? There's always going to be ethical people and then unethical people. So
Like any industry.
it is. Like, look at it, it's out there. All right. So next, I think let's jump into XDay. We talked about, XDay and doing a recap, and I wanted to show you some clips. So I have some clips lined up of some of the different speakers, or even with Vivek, our founder and CEO, and him talking about some different things. So the first clip that I wanted to share here is with Angela Culver, who was our keynote. She shared a lot about this concept of continuous discovery. So I wanted to share this clip. I'm only going to play a couple minutes of it, but really around continuous discovery and this process of what it is, and always reaching out to your customers and so forth, and how curiosity can lead to this. So just to set the stage a little bit, she talks about her figure skating career that she had prior. So she was a competitive ice skater, and she related that to this continuous discovery process. So just so you're not in the dark, she does go into that a little bit, but I think you guys will be able to catch on. Again, if you just joined us, we're recapping XDay. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notifications so you know that when we go live and it's planned at 11, you get that reminder so you don't miss out on any of this content. But all right, I'll play this and then we'll come right back to it.
The last lesson that I really learned during my skating days is focused around curiosity. In order to stay relevant in an artistic sport, you always have to be thinking about what you can do different to make sure you stand out among the crowd. And I found that the best way to achieve this was to constantly be listening, observing, and open to discovering new things and new ways to think about them that were not necessarily the logical approach that you would take. For me, I set this path by using the scientific method and continuous discovery to produce creative outputs. When I was 10 years old, I was the only one on the side of the ice mapping out my figures with a compass and a protractor. When I was in my teens, I was the only one with a calculus, a physics, and a geometry book by my side as I was running through formulas to figure out how to precisely execute my doubles and triples. This was not the normal approach. I was teased quite a bit about it, but in my rink, I was one of 2 people that made a career out of skating. So if I dig into this a little bit more and talk about continuous discovery, what does that actually mean to me holistically? Well, continuous discovery is a process that helps teams, and has predominantly been started in product teams, evolve and refine their ideas based on customer needs so that the output delivers more value. And I know this is something that you live through on a regular basis with doing customer listening and measurement. For me, it is all about seeking the desired outcome by conducting small research activities with the customers frequently. And the key word here is frequently. This is not a one and done activity, and it's a never ending process. So it needs to be a continuous cycle that you go through.
So I just wanted to play that clip there where she talks about continuous discovery, which is something that, we're focusing a lot on, is, doing this continuous discovery with your customers. I think, kind of a good anecdote to this is, you don't want to buy flood insurance after you have a flood, right? Or you don't want earthquake insurance after the earthquake, you want it before, right? So you want this continuous discovery process set up and in place so you can reach out frequently to your customers. And this is what, she was mentioning here. So, having a community or way to reach out to your customers frequently and at different touch points allows that continuous discovery process. So you can really encounter and get some of those needs and things that they're after that you may not have gotten because you're not reaching out to them, as frequently as you should be.
No, I really enjoyed how she talked about the analytics of it and how she was able to take analytics from even something like figure skating, which you would never take into consideration, into marketing. And as a marketer, I love that. I think I have a background in advertising, which means I'm not quite as measured in my marketing approach. Sometimes I still feel like there needs to be a little bit of magic. We always joked in advertising school that advertising was all the feelings and marketing was all of the zeros and ones. And then at some point, you still have to combine the two. But I think that, when you have companies like Oracle who are doing that really down to a granular level, then the people who are doing the less measurable things get to, get the benefit from it too.
You need a balance of the left brain and right brain, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's true. Before you share your screen, will you share it again? Will you make sure the sound comes through? It was a little quiet for our watchers.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Let me see if I can turn it up a little bit here. Yeah,
but yeah, Angela was great. She also, Tim made a comment about flood insurance.
Yeah, sorry,
still
Tim.
Raining in Louisiana. Angela really did a great job, and we really appreciated having Oracle just take the time to participate in it.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great to have her and her Oracle to allow her to participate. It was really good. So that's just a short snippet. She talked for a good 30 to 40 minutes. So I would definitely recommend talking about it. She goes through a lot of other key points that I know there's good nuggets of information in there as well. All right. So if you're just tuning in, we're recapping XDay, going over some of those highlights. It's Crystal is usually here with me, and then of course I'm here every time. So. But next, let's switch gears a little bit. I wanted to show you guys a clip of when Vivek was talking about, when he did his presentation, and he talked about kind of 4 main kind of key things that he sees as the future, where, obviously then some features and different things around that. So I wanted to play a clip where he talks about the empowered consumer and then the entrepreneur, which is so really around more focusing on NPS Plus and then some of our workforce features. So I know that's sometimes because I lead the research here, the research and insights, I tend to focus more on that. But I wanted to give everybody a little bit of flavor around, how we're thinking about NPS Plus, and then also how we're thinking about, workforce and some of those different directions. So let me cue this up here, and I'll try to turn the volume up so you guys can hear it better this time. All right.
What I call the empowered consumer, the right is a huge challenge for companies. They don't control. Companies don't control the narrative of the brand anymore. People control the narrative of the brand, and because of that,
Yeah, there you go. So they couldn't hear it.
What's up?
When you muted something, I couldn't hear it.
Oh, sorry, that was my bad. Okay. Let's see what's up. Let's do it over. It's live, so things happen.
This is what happens. And we're not using Zoom, so it's a different platform.
Yeah, I've never tried this before. So
let's see if there's a.
Is that better?
What I call the empowered consumer. The rise of social media has unleashed a huge challenge for companies. They don't control. Companies don't control the narrative of the brand anymore. People control the narrative of the brand, and because of that, the brand narrative is controlled by influencers, campaigns, and people. Realistically, Churn is no longer a result of products or pricing or promotions. It's all about values right now. Accenture's pivotal studies found that 62% of customers wanted companies to stand up for issues that they're passionate about.
I think just real quick, Viv made a key point there where I think, companies don't really control the narrative anymore. It's really because of all the inputs of social media and different avenues like that, it's really the consumer controls more of the narrative now. So you got to be careful about that. And this is one of the ways that will help you kind of combat that, so you can really be on top of the different narratives that you're seeing out there.
So preventing churn is a pretty important element, and that's it's probably the most important element. I know for B2B SaaS companies like us, churn is the one every single guy I've talked to, and if you talk to anybody in the B2B SaaS world, they'll talk about churn. They'll talk about, hey, you got to keep customers happy. Not only you have to keep customers happy, you have to keep them engaged. You have to keep them, you have to keep innovating on behalf of your customers, because they are paying you every hour, every minute, every day, realistically. And that's the beauty of the SaaS model on that side. And so we want to really think about keeping customers not only keeping customers happy, keeping them blissfully happy, really. And
blissfully happy.
We have some ideas, and Ken is going to talk about later on towards the day. He's going to talk about NPS Plus, where we've reimagined how we measure customer satisfaction. Not only measure it, but understand the root cause of it. I predict churn, and also engage with our customers in terms of what we call co-creation. So we say okay, customers are your fountain of ideas. Customers, I know I've talked to a ton of customers at QuestionPro that have given me all the ideas that I have. Scott was there earlier on in the call, and Scott and Chris are two of my friends from Seattle. They helped me build our content platform. Effectively, they gave me a lot of ideas. Not only gave me ideas, they gave me valuable input in terms of how to model the logit model and everything else. When I was starting off QuestionPro, I didn't know anything about content, and I learned it from our customers, realistically. So that's something that that we think are we think is important to have that process around customer churn and getting a handle of that.
So real quick, if you want to learn more about NPS Plus, there is a video in the YouTube playlist and that you can go to. Ken, who leads our CX, talks about the NPS Plus model that we came out with and how you can implement that, and goes over that product in detail. So if that's something you want to find out more about, there's definitely information around that on the playlist. And then real quick, just want to show you this around sort of democratizing asking questions within an organization. And this is a feature on our workforce product line.
And the final megatrend is around, what I call entrepreneurism or intrapreneurship rather. Most companies, if they do not clearly know this, and I don't know if I'm going to say this, most companies that do not innovate will fail.
Can't hear it?
Most of them.
It's a little quiet.
Fortune 500 companies,
I don't know what I'm not sure.
Smaller companies, if you are not innovating, you're clearly not going to be able to survive beyond year 2 or year 3 effectively. And what does that mean from a kind of organization perspective? And we thought about it and say, like, okay, what we think is like we need to be able to have in employee engagement to a level that is like that we want to innovate on. And we're talking a little bit about, at least from our perspective, we have a mobile app that enables, employees to give feedback to their employers realistically. And not only that, but also we want to truly innovate over here and say we want employees to ask questions off of each other also. It's not just about giving feedback. It's about kind of getting some value out of the system. So not just almost like think of it as employees running their own surveys against each other. So that's the one kind of like feature set that we want to add to our portfolio effectively to kind of enable, to kind of really we thought a lot about employee engagement, and that's kind of the reason why we're doing that. So that being said.
Okay, so that was another clip I wanted to show around really how we're thinking about 2 of those key areas of CX and workforce. So the Pulse is an app that you can use and within your organization to really ask the different employees questions, get their feedback directly in an easier way, and really helps enable the entrepreneurism that Vivek was talking about as well. So those are 2 areas. If you want to find out more about those, again, I don't know that we covered the Pulse. Maybe we didn't cover that actually. So if you want to know more about that, reach out to us and we will get you some info on that as well. One more I know that I wanted to show you real quick was just a quick part of the quick chat that I had with Marissa Sison from Verizon. It was a really good conversation that I had with her around kind of innovation, how Verizon innovates, and how they tap into customers' unmet needs. So here, Marissa, I'll kind of cue this up, she's talking about how Verizon, some of the different things they do to meet those unmet needs, and then gives a great example of how an unmet need was found in the marketplace or was found sort of out there, and then a product was unveiled as a result of it. So I'll play this clip for you now, and then we'll dive into a final segment of data points. So if you're just joining, we're recapping XDay. I know we have people on looking on Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube. So we're getting all across the gamut today, which is awesome. So that's good. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and do all that jazz that you know how to do. And we will
click those buttons.
Click the buttons. Come on. All right. Play this here. Okay, cool.
Truth, that's some very challenging questions, and I'm sure a lot of consumer insights people and market researchers and even product development teams struggle with that question. The way I tend to think of it is, first you have to have a view of the world, and what that means is, in technical jargon, some assumptions coming in, because you need to start with a way of thinking. So when you take a look at consumer needs, the question that we're asking is, what problem or problems is a consumer trying to solve? So when you start with the unmet need, you have 2 components. One is that current solutions are not meeting their needs. And then the other piece of that is no solutions exist, but consumers know that they need something. Now, on the other side, we have what I call the demand creation. And this is fulfilling a need that consumers don't even realize they have. So let me give a few examples. When you take a look at needs that are not currently met by solutions in the marketplace, I will take and show you, if you can see this. Let's see.
Hard to see, but it's a Swiffer.
It's a Swiffer.
Double ding.
So if you take the story of Swiffer, that is a solution to a need by consumers where the current solutions are not satisfying to them. So with the Swiffer story, it's sort of like legendary, where Procter & Gamble, they sent a bunch of design anthropologists and ethnographers, and they discovered among the consumers that they spent half of their time cleaning the floor using a variety of different products, and then half of the time taking their cleaning products and cleaning them. So the insight there is, wouldn't it be nice to have a product where you can use just one thing to clean your floor, and you don't have to bother cleaning your cleaning instrument? And hence the Swiffer was born. And then when you take...
So that's the story behind the Swiffer. So, but that was all done because of research, right? Sending ethnographers out into the field, viewing how people are using different products, and then creating this need or this demand out of it. Another example that I would think of is like you have the Clorox wipes or Lysol wipes, right? Where, I mean, how many of you thought that you needed a Lysol wipe until you saw it? Nothing. So, this unmet need now becomes a real demand, especially during the pandemic. I mean, before people were using them, but now you can't find them. Like if you can find one at a store, you're buying them,
Yep. Febreze is another great story like that too. They didn't realize it's actually in one of my, not the book you have back there, but one of my favorite books, The Power of Habit, talks about how Febreze was actually like a chemical compound change. Like it's like a new thing that they made, but it had no smell when they first created it. And so consumers, if they needed it, loved it because they're like, oh, I'm a vet. I work in a smelly environment. This is amazing. But normal consumers were like, well, my house isn't that smelly. And so they actually had to add the scent after going to people's homes and being like, why do you love it? Or why do you not love it? And it was like, well, I work in it, on a farm. And so it's awesome because it takes the smells away. But then like Martha Stewart is like, my house doesn't smell, but the smell they had to add afterwards so that people could feel satisfied about cleaning.
Yeah, I always liked the Febreze in college. It was perfect. So,
boys. I had something else I was gonna say, and I forgot it already. Keep going.
All right. So that's the next day recap. So it was a packed day. If you like those clips, check out all the playlists. They're all available for you on YouTube. Go to QuestionPro's channel, and you'll see a playlist of XDay. And I'm sure once all the other regions have their XDays, they'll be up there too. So you can view those. Or maybe I'm getting...
No, you will. We're also getting all of the pages. So like all of the research room, the CX room, and the surveys room will have a landing page. We're working on them right now with all the Q&A.
Oh, perfect. Yep.
So, really getting into those, the questions our customers were asking. There was this whole like surprise segment in the surveys room that was called Stump Kartik, which is one of our sales guys. And people were asking him how to solve problems. And he's like, well, you just do it like this. And it was like showcasing how to use the product in live time, which is really, really cool.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize they did that. That's a good idea.
Huh. We had a lot of good engagement. Theirs was harder to like edit.
I imagine. Yeah. Well, that's good. If you can stump Kartik, you're...
I know. They didn't.
Right. I know. You can't do it. Can't do it.
couldn't quite get there. But, we will be running more XDays next year. And we really want to start, making sure we're inviting our customers into spaces, just like Live with Dan, or, doing kind of like more meeting room styles where people can really jump in and ask questions, because I think that's where QuestionPro shines, is because we can solve any problem, I swear.
Yeah, we can do it. There's always a way. We'll figure it out. No problem.
Always a way.
All right. Before we end the live stream, I wanted to show a data point here. So data points is something we've been doing every week around something interesting that's going on in the world, in the marketplace, in the election. In this case, it's around Netflix. So Netflix is raising the price of, their most popular plan from $14 to $18. Yeah, this is what Tim told me. So they're raising the prices. So we asked the question around, will this move make you consider canceling your services? So I mean, you can see over 50% 56% said, yeah, they would definitely consider it. So this was asked of, 150 people. We fielded this in about 3 minutes using our instant answers, which we also unveiled at XDay. So it's a Slack integration. We can ask a question, get those responses back in Slack with a chart like this. So if you want to use that, definitely let us know. We also talked about it on the research product showcase. So definitely check that out.
This makes me really sad.
What?
It makes me sad that they're raising the cost of Netflix.
Oh, I know. But
I'm responsible for my family's Netflix account, so I can't cancel it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. But here are some alternatives. So we asked a follow-up question around, what media outlets or what have you been using to stream? So what sources have you been getting? So, over 50% did say Netflix. So you can see obviously with the rise of Disney Plus and, some others out there are alternatives. So I think, Netflix obviously I'm sure they've done some research around this as well, but there are, some, maybe 6-7 different alternatives out there that people can gravitate to. So, kind of interesting data point there around Netflix, right? Like everybody knows Netflix. I feel like everybody has it. It's become, another channel. So with a bunch of different shows on it, obviously. So,
but even with Hulu, you can do add-ons inside of it now, which make it like a little different of a value add. It's more like component based, whereas Netflix puts you into one stream. And I think that's where, because even Amazon does that, where you can add components. You could get like CBS All Access or Showtime all within one platform. And so while it's an additional cost, it's kind of like inside that one experience already. And so that's definitely going to be interesting to see how Netflix combats that, where people start kind of like gravitating, as you saw, even Hulu and Amazon took up such greater segments because you can essentially, unless it's a Netflix original, you can probably find it somewhere else. And so it'll be interesting to see how Netflix competes against those product offerings inside of there. I also didn't realize Sling TV was got 1% of the vote.
Yeah, Sling TV making a comeback.
I only ever see the commercials.
Yeah, no, we used it for a while, but it was good.
That's funny. Well.
All right. Well, with that, I think we'll end the show.
Okay. See you later, Dan. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Take care. We'll see you later. Bye, everybody. Thanks for viewing.